Hello summoners and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. Today we're going to take a look at the high-elo tier list for patch 4.0, but before we hop into it, let's talk about our question of the day. What are your plans for Season 8? Do you want to climb the normal rank ladder? Do you want to hit Legendary Queue? Do you want to hop into the ARAM domination train? Like, what do you want to do? Let me know in the comments below. Let's start with the Baron lane, and here we have Wukong. Wukong is one of those champions that is always an apex predator when it comes to the Baron lane. His sustain is unbelievably high, and with the change of the new tank items, he can be a menace you have to reckon with. The sustain of this champion was already a problem beforehand, but now, even against the difficult other champions, for example a Jax or crit AD carries, the champion of Wukong has different access to new items which helps him to become even more obnoxious to deal with. Because if you follow the typical train of thought, if you can't kill something, even if you spend 1 minute trying to kill so, it will eventually kill you. And that is only viewing it as an isolated 1v1 without even considering other players or other champions in the game. So, whenever you think about Wukong, it's one of those champions you always have to have on your radar, because this champion is utterly annoying to deal with. Divine Sundra with its Sheen proc on your first ability and demolishing the enemy champions is just absurd. And for laning, it doesn't even get better for the enemy team. Whenever an enemy champion gets too close to Wukong, Wukong can use his first ability's bonus range to punish the enemy when they're going for a last or something like this. To do that in the best and most reliable fashion, you want to play around your grass with the Undying procs. Using this in combination with your first ability will grant you substantial amounts of healing plus bonus damage, which will overcome or deal with most of the other Baron laners you can face. Cause you have something they don't have, which is infinite amount of sustain. Also worthy of note, with your fast trading pattern using your third ability and even using your second ability to avoid potential damage by the enemy champions, because you can use it as a bait, you make it very difficult for the opposing team to deal with you. Also, being dove or diving the enemy is so easy with your ultimate ability. You just have to get used to it, and once you hit the spot, you'll be kind of surprised how broken Wukong can be. And this is our full tier list for the Baron lane. Next on this list comes the jungle role, and here we have the lovely kitty cat Rengar. Rengar is one of those champions that since release have been nerfed and nerfed and nerfed again, and then reached a point where they're just not powerful enough. But now, with the jungle changes in place and some buffs to Rengar, this champion is an absolute monster. Building items such as Navori Quick Blade, Solari Charge Blade and Bloodthirst to turn you into an invincible Demon King and able to just turn down, well, basically take down Baron Nashor with absolute ease. You just don't need anyone to help you because you have enough damage and enough sustain from your second ability to your empowerments that you can just take it down without any problem. Also, here's the secret about why you want Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster on Rengar allows you to stay on the map longer without any downtime on the map. Going for more plays, going for more gold, anything you think you just kinda need, especially in the current rank climate where every second you waste and don't spend in a good way might end up losing you the game because your teammates are gonna run you down, and that's sadly the reality of ranked. But with Rengar you have access to multiple things that are very broken you have to consider. Number one, you are able to split push like an absolute monster. You take towers down in a second and nothing can really stop you. Number 2, you have the constant Baron pressure upon free items, which allows you, if your team is inting on the other side of the map, to just take down this lovely purple worm Baron Nashor for yourself and then see what you can do afterwards. Another thing that's pretty neat around Rengar is his stealth ability, his sustain and overall impact on the map. But if there's something that makes this champion kind of overly broken, it's his ability to soak up damage like a sponge. Jumping into an enemy team and being able to just cleanse all the CC effects while also healing the damage taken is quite a problematic thing while being a full damage oriented character. You're not even forced to build any defensive item, and if there's any defensive item you would like the most, it's a magic resist item which is Spirit Visage. You just turn into an absolute demon. You just can't die and take down everything in your way unless you get caught without any good ferocity management or any cooldown available. Which then again, since you have no more quick blades, becomes kind of not so much of a problem unless you die instantaneously because critting gives you back cooldowns. It's lovely. And this is our full tier list for the jungle role. Next on this list comes the mid lane, and here we have Zoe. Zoe is an absolutely overpowered monstrous champion that will kill you once you make a single mistake, which usually is just about walking into her sleep. Zoe's damage potential is absurdly high, and there are a few tricks you can actually learn about by mastering this champion. For this we made a lovely guide, and you should definitely check it out because it will help you get better at Zoe and understanding what this champion does. If you're interested in it, make sure to click the video on our channel to go to the Zoe guide. But let's talk about Zoe as a champion and why this champion is so good for the mid lane. Zoe loves to poke out the enemy champions and protect your mid lane tower overall. Her laning phase is rather oppressive, more oppressive than you believe it is. And here's why. Her second ability, called Spell Thief, allows her to pick up summoner spells. And whenever she uses a summoner spell, be it her own or an enemy one, or a one that is dropped from a minion, which can also be an active item, she gains lovely bubbles that spin around herself. Those bubbles grant her bonus damage when she attacks something, while also increasing her movement speed. Also activating any kind of spell on Zoe, be it the first cast of your first ability or the second cast of your first ability, gives her the passive. And with the passive of hers, she gains more bonus damage on hit. So you see, she's a very heavy damage centric champion that will kill you even with just auto attack during the laning phase. But what makes this champion so scary? Doing any kind of objective against Zoe can be quite troublesome. Whenever she throws out the bubbles, she can connect those bubbles with walls to increase their range. And even when it's fog of war, you will see if somebody gets slapped. And when somebody is falling asleep, you see like lovely butterflies rising up in the fog of war. And once you see that, you can aim with your ultimate ability and your first ability to kill someone. If you hit someone that is asleep on your free item spike, you will most likely just one-shot them if you have Ignite available. You just drop everything you have, including an auto attack, and just boom, they explode. And this is our full tier list for the mid lane. For the Dragon lane we have Ezreal. Ezreal is one of those champions that have a very low skill floor. Technically speaking, you can just play this champion by throwing out your first ability on cooldown. But that won't help you too much. There's a common theme going around that many people believe that Ezreal is a weak laner, but that is not true. He has an auto attack reset on his first ability, an attack speed steroid, bonus damage, and just overall the ability to guarantee that nearly all of his spells hit an enemy champion. So how can this champion be weak in the early game? It's simply not true, it's just a player differential. This champion's damage is very high, but you need to know how to use him. Using a second ability to tag it onto an enemy, to then use your third ability to make sure your third ability's bonus damage hits onto the enemy champion, while also only going for certain types of damage. Whenever an enemy is trying to get a CS, you can use your first ability to punish them as they're stunning themselves to hit this enemy minion, or to hit your minion basically. And you can use this and just use it on any kind of thing you can think about. Because the enemy is making something or doing something, and in the downtime you can punish them with what you have available. And Ezreal is one of those champions that loves doing so. He has a free flash on his third ability, insane poke damage, and insane burst damage. The only thing he kinda lacks is the ability to do consistent damage in the sense of crit AD carries. But even then, most of the time you'll win fights before the fight even starts, because that's how Ezreal is designed to be played. And this is our full tier list for the Dragon lane. Last but surely not least, we have support, and here we have Thresh. Thresh got a neat buff with the new item release, because previously most of the support champions only wanted movement speed items, which, well, they still want, but in solo queue it might be a bit different. In competitive, we most likely see that movement speed will still be the meta, but we are Europe, so we don't really mind that one anymore. For our items, we want Dawn Shot as an item, because Dawn Shot grants us health, magic resist, and armor at the same time, while also increasing our damage plus revealing enemy champions that we immobilize. So how is that item even fair? And Thresh is also primarily known for his insane burst damage, so if you add Aftershock plus this item, you deal so much bonus damage for no reason. And you already know that Thresh is going to kill an AD carry on one item spike pretty easily, because Thresh as a champion just kills you while also gaining infinite amounts of armor from the Soul's passive. So when you play this champion, you need to get used to just running down people with your major damage potential. And the same thing applies to his laning phase. Most of Thresh players start with his first ability and just run around cluelessly, but what about starting with your third ability and just running into the enemy's face? Use your third ability and auto-attack them and they lose like half their HP. The only thing you have to take notice of nowadays is that if the enemy has bone plating, you might get punished for this gameplay. But if they have no bone plating and you know about this, what stops you from running them down? And then you just do it on repeat and repeat and repeat. Because once you're ahead, they have no way of defending themselves and even diving is so easy. Also, a little trick. When you're not sure about your AD carry's safety and he wants to go for a plate, run away from him, drop him a lantern and just wait and give him the additional safety that even if he's about to get ganked, he can just take the lantern and get out of the game and play and just go back home safely to spend his gold. And that's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. If you want more RiftGuides content, leave a like and subscribe to the channel and see you soon for more.